Assalamu alaikum, everybody.
Welcome, sir.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Shaukat. I'm representing DuPont here in Bangladesh. I'm your program coordinator for today's session. So, respected guest of honor, distinguished moderator, panelists, President, Executive Committee colleagues of American Chamber of Commerce, honorable guests, representatives from print and electronic media, I would like to welcome all of you for this session, which is going to be an encouraging discussion today. The session is titled as Women Power, the Force Multiplier. The name itself has got a strong message. It carries a strong message. And all our honorable panelists who are here, I believe all of you would be having a very good time basically to understand from their experience. So in today's session, we will have our chief guest. We have Dr. Shirin Sharmin Chaudhary. Welcome, ma'am. Our session chair today is Mr. Syed Irshad Ahmed, who is the president of AmCham. We will have the session be moderated by Ms. Luna Shamsud Doha, who is the AmCham member and also the chairperson of Doha Tech New Media. Ms. Dr. Rubana Haq, who is the managing director of Mohammadi Group and BGMEA president, who is a panelist. We have Uzma Chaudhary, Ms. Uzma Chaudhary, who is the CFO and finance director of Pran RFL Group, and Ms. Rubaba Doula, who is the managing director of Oracle here in Bangladesh. So each of our panelists will be talking about on different topics, where Luna Appa will be conducting the whole discussion. So just to give you a bit of brief outline on the entrepreneurship ecosystem, Dr. Rubana Haq will be talking in details, and access to finance will be discussed by Uzma Chaudhary, and digital economy during the pandemic will be covered by Rubaba Doula. Thank you all, and welcoming Mr. Syed Irshad Ahmed for his welcome remarks. Thank you.
Thank you, Shaukat Sarkar. Respected guest of honor, Dr. Shirin Sharmin Chaudhary, Honorable Speaker, Bangladesh National Parliament, the eminent moderator and panelist, excellencies, distinguished guests, business leaders, fellow members of American Chamber of Commerce in Bangladesh, and the media representative. A very good afternoon, Assalamu alaikum to you all. Following up our early instance to support the AmCham members and the business ecosystem of Bangladesh, the Executive Committee of AmCham has evaluated the pandemic situation very closely and took a conscious call to address the issue of evolving women entrepreneurship that contributed a lot for the economic growth of the country. Historically, the entry of women into the entrepreneurship is the outcome of a complex mix of constraints and opportunities. Business in Bangladesh, like other neighboring Asian countries, is predominantly a male-oriented domain until late 80s, when the ready-made garments industries came into the scenario, playing a vital role in accelerating the economic growth. Almost 80% of the workforce of this industry belongs to the women, whereas ownership control still lies mostly with the men. In recent years, the rate of new business formation by the women has significantly risen in Bangladesh. However, women still own and manage significantly fewer businesses than men. According to the Economic Census 2013, the number of women-headed establishments is only 0.56 million. That is 7.21%, while it was 0.10 million, that is only 2.8% in 2001 and 2003. According to the Bangladesh Home Workers Women Association, the annual contribution of home-based workers to the GDP is about $2.59 billion. The traditional view of what women's role in the society is an obstacle for the for them becoming successful entrepreneurs. As we already know, the outbreaks of coronavirus affects the cottage, micro, small and medium enterprises sector in Bangladesh. We understand the government is determined to develop the overall CMEC sector, keeping the view of the goals set out to achieve the sustainable development goals and graduation from least developed countries to a middle income country, which we believe can be achievable by focusing a little more on this aspect of economy. Over to you, Moderator Lunapa. The stage is all yours. Thank you, everybody.
Guest of Honor, Dr. Shirin Shamim Chaudhary, MP, Honorable Speaker of the National Parliament. We salute you, Madam. We salute you for your incredible effort in the Parliament. We'll have to understand and also use of digital and technology. These are essential for us to go forward, for women to go forward, and the expectation from all our panelists here is they have been already on the other side already, you see. They have already adapted technology. Rubana herself is a speaker at the World Economic Forum on 4IR. I know that Uzma Chaudhary and Pran, they have been in 110 countries. They also look at technology very seriously. And of course, Rubaba is in Oracle and in health sector as well. So without further ado, if we can introduce our speakers, we would like to get on with the discussions as quickly as possible. Dr. Rubana Haq, what do I say about you, Rubana? She is the most successful entrepreneur in Bangladesh, I would say, and such a proud feeling to even introduce her today. And it is, she's the first female elected in the largest trade body of garment workers. That's not her, I don't think that's her, we should introduce her like that. She herself has been running a business for many years in the ready-made apparel industry, in technology. She runs an IT company. They have many other things that we should be extremely proud of. And all of them, she's in media, and all of them have been successful in their business. She is she's one of the BBC 100 women that has been recognized in 2013 and 14. And of course, she was with Asia, she is with Asian University. And on top of everything, you know, she went on to finish her being a mother, being in business, being in, you know, everything else. She finished her PhD in English literature. And I don't know what else to say about Rubana. It's incredible amount of energy that she has. Our next speaker is Uzma Chaudhary. Uzma has been with Pran. She is can we have the slide? Yes. She's Director Finance Pran. And Pran is, and she's a certified public accountant, CPA. She is, she's been, she holds a bachelor's in science accounting from University of Texas and also University of Dhaka. She's member of the Finance and Audit Committee. She's with USEP as well, Underprivileged Children's Organization, with Metropolitan Chamber. And she runs an extremely large enterprise. Pran is everywhere. You go to Africa, they don't know Bangladesh, but they do know Pran. You go to the Seven Sisters anywhere, and I was surprised it was in, I think, Assam or Shillong or somewhere, they were selling Pran. I said, oh, what is this, Bangladeshi? I said, no, this is Pran. So it was not Bangladesh, it was Pran. Uzma, very warm welcome. We have with us Rubaba. Rubaba needs no introduction as well. She's the country manager of managing director of Oracle. She almost 2 decades she's been with telecommunication. She's spearheaded various product innovations and have achieved the World GSMA awards and many acclamations. She founded the digital healthcare platform in Bangladesh, and of course, she has an MBA and BBA, and she attended many executive programs. And Rubaba, warm welcome. We are eager to listen to you as well. So, without further ado, can we ask Uzma? Uzma, if you could tell us a bit about your company, and then, of course, about how you manage all this such a large enterprise, and also that you source from women. That's a very interesting thing that you do, that your products are you source from women from different parts of the country.
Thank you very much. I think all of you can hear me, correct?
Yes, we can.
Okay, hopefully the thunder won't bother me much. Yeah. Okay, let me introduce Pran RFL, the group that was started by my father. And then I will talk a little bit about how women are doing in Bangladesh so far, and how I look for the future of women in Bangladesh. Then I will talk about a little bit of the empowerment of women, how we can ensure the empowerment of women going forward, and a little bit on how COVID has changed our life, and what are the future, how we can deal with the post-COVID situation. And thank you so much for allowing me to speak, President AmCham, Dr. Shirin Sharmin MP, and Speaker of Parliament. Thank you very much for allowing me this time to talk about a very important issue for Bangladesh at this point. I believe everybody knows Pran. I don't need to introduce Pran. We are the largest agro-processing industry in Bangladesh, as well as in the subcontinent. We are the largest plastic and light engineering industry in Bangladesh as well, with the brand name of RFL. And we are holding the largest number of retail stores in Bangladesh, with 5 or 6 different names. Our sales is about 2 billion USD, and our export is about 500 million USD as of 2020 of this year. As Lunapa already introduced, we are exporting to 110 countries, and we are here, like Pran is here in Bangladesh since 1981. And the best part, what I want to talk about is, like, we are employing about 115,000 people in Bangladesh, and 40% of which is women. We are proud to be the employer of this very many people. However, I personally think there's a long way for women to go forward. We are employing women right now, mostly in the workers. There are not, in our head offices, it's not even 5% of women are working. I would like to see more women coming and joining our workforce. And I would say we are almost there. A little bit of permutation and combination in the policies can actually help us bring this difference in our society. And Pran RFL would be the conglomerate to bring in this change in our society, to find their way out. And we found our way out in the garments industry and in any other place where we are working. And eventually we have been able to find the niche where we are good at. And this is the beginning. I would just say that this is the beginning, and there would be a lot more things coming in future. So if we can transform ourselves to be providing more efficient services, definitely the society is waiting out there to grab the new workforce. and we will be able to contribute our energy in the GDP in going forward. Everybody, men and women, all entrepreneurs, small or large, are going through change, and they are posed with a challenge. Sales have fallen to some extent for every industry. So I think I've taken enough time, and I mean the things. I mean things are moving forward for us in the right direction, and in no time we will be changing the world very soon. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Uzma. We will certainly come back to you, and thank you for giving an elaborate. And this is extremely encouraging for us as well. We will come back to you. I turn over to Rubaba. We would, of course, would like to know more about your company, your enterprise, and about yourself, and then about the health tech that you have initiated, Pulse, and of course the enterprise that you're working for.
First of all, thank you so much for inviting me to today's discussion. Are you able to hear me properly?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. I'd like to thank the President, Mr. Syed Irshad Ahmed of American Chamber of Commerce, for inviting me to this discussion today. And I'm honored that we have our Honorable Speaker of Bangladesh Parliament, Dr. Shirin Sharmin Chaudhary, with us. And of course, the esteemed panelists who are here. I'm a big admirer of all these incredible women. Lunapa, yourself, and of course, Dr. Rubana Haq, and Uzma Chaudhary, who happens to be also my classmate. Very nice meeting everybody. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to speak about women power and to speak about the future of technology. As you know, about 20 years ago, I started my career in telecom. And at that time, telecom was actually unheard of. People didn't know the actual usage of telecommunication. It was seen as a luxury item. I'm talking about 1997, 98. And we transformed that into a necessity. And especially in Bangladesh, as you know, the company where I had worked for at Grameenphone, when I had joined, as it was a new sector, but at the same time, there were very few female professionals who were working in that particular sector. So I've actually gone through that entire roller coaster ride of learning about the sector itself and what impact it has created in our country. And also through that process, I've also gathered knowledge and experience, which I have utilized later on, which I will probably be speaking on. So talking about the 20 years that I've worked in telecommunication, what I have seen is the starting point for us at that time was how to make this a necessity and how to empower people with technology. And if you remember the Village Phone program, where we actually gave out microcredit to women as entrepreneurs, right? And they were selling airtime to people in the villages. It was a shared service, and that's how this thing actually started to spread across the country. And we were able to really bridge the gap between the have and have-nots, or the rural and the urban community, by connecting people through telecommunication. Of course, at first it was voice-based, and then we moved into digital space. And today, when you look at Bangladesh, and if you talk about digital divide, or if we talk about where we are in terms of access to information, we really have to give the actual, probably the flag to the telecommunications sector, which has really spread this connectivity across the country. With 160 million people, almost 80% and more have access to mobile phone. We have people who have access to internet, people who have access to smartphones, and the main reason why that has happened is because we believed what technology can do. And as a result, when we at first talk about digital divide, we talked about the connected and the unconnected, right? But today, when we talk about digital divide, it's not only that, it's also about how we're utilizing ICT, how we're utilizing this access to information. I think that's the point that I would like to refer to at a later stage. So 20 years in telecom, after realizing how technology can create impact in people's lives, in businesses, how it can empower women especially, I thought, what can I do on my own for the society? So after 20 years in corporate, I decided to take a major risk, a change. I became an entrepreneur early 2018. And there are a few sectors that I was looking into, the education sector, the health sector, and other sectors. And what I realized that the health sector definitely required the help of technology. What we have to first do is engage girls in areas like STEM, right? We're talking about science, technology, engineering, maths, early adoption of that so that they're not left out. The other thing that we have to look into is, of course, um, having women's participation in, so to speak, gender parity, right? So there's a statistics that have just come across. It says that by 2040 there would be gender equality in the developed countries, and by 2060 there would be gender equality in the more developed countries like ours. So that's a very good indication for us to look into. So that's something that we really have to focus on. The other thing that is also extremely important is that now with the use of technology, women are able to become entrepreneurs and do work from home. I mean, look at what happened with this virtualization, taking education online, right? If there's a male in the house, that person gets priority to get access to that smart device or laptop that is required to do online education or for learning purpose. That is also another area we have to look into, even from government perspective, from private sector. How do we give access to these kinds of devices so that it's equally distributed and men and women all get
Absolutely, Rubaba. If I can intervene now, we'll come back to you. And you've touched upon an extremely important issue of skilling and upskilling. And we're talking about actually augmented reality and virtual reality to do our skilling. You see, it doesn't have to be face-to-face in-class training. To carry us through, and then we'll have some Q&A, and then, of course, listen to our esteemed guest of honor, Rubana.
Thank you. I'll be as brief as possible. Honorable Speaker, President AmCham, moderator, and of course, fellow panelists, and of course, the audience. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to address you today. I'll be quick. I can only say that, we live in different worlds. Rubaba has very rightly pointed out all the opportunities and possibilities of even STEM, early STEM adoption. The world that I am currently confronted with has, of course, female workers whose literacy levels are not where it should be. So you see, without education, I don't know how we are going to bridge this digital divide. And frankly speaking, 4IR is going to change our lives. The scale, the scope, and the pace will change, and it will impact our industry and our lives. And the lines between technology and people are getting blurred. And AI is already reinventing the digital economy, and it will very, very quickly readdress the physical one as well. And AI will help autonomous machinery to navigate the physical world and help humans and computers to interrelate. So with robotic engineering out there and with AI research out there, and with even investment firms having AI board members, and with the massive spending that robotics industry has globally, and with the massive expansion of 3D printers being shipped globally, we know that we have a challenge at hand. And here, where does our female labor force really, really come in? How do we How do we go about it at all? Because overnight, these female labor force are not going to turn out to be coders. So for us, our bubbles are different, our worlds are different, and with 4IR, we, current at the present moment, we are sort of 8% automated in our manufacturing. It will probably rise to about around 25% by 2023. But where do we go from there? Do we actually look at cobots, collaborative robots, who are going to be working side by side with our female labor force? We don't know. We really don't know. So, education is the answer. And how do we educate these women who are out there, who have no idea about coding? How do we get there? So in areas like this, a collaboration, at least a brainstorming session with Rubaba would help, because, how do we bridge the socioeconomic divide? And that is critical for our country. As far as female empowerment is concerned, it's no mystery, and it's not new knowledge that we were at an 8% female employment in 1983. We're at a 36.3. Out of 4.1 million workers, we have 2.4 million who are women. Very luckily, Bangladesh Bank and ICT Ministry have signed an MOU, and in that, the IDTP platform is now coming into reality, which is an interoperable digital transfer platform, which is going to be also vendor neutral. So that gives everybody a chance to be competitive, and there's no chance of a monopoly there. So we are hoping that, from our industry, we will be aligning with that IDTP platform, because we want to go digital completely. So Amcham, thank you very much for inviting us to be speakers at the panel. I don't want to take up more time, but I would rather listen and learn. Thank you very much.
We have to help companies prepare for the new reality. And this is where I think you touched upon very extremely well.
My name is Shekhar Rajashekharan. I'm the Managing Director of City NA Bangladesh. I've been here for the last 3 years, and I've had the opportunity to work with many of you quite closely. And I'm also on the FICCI and AmCham executive committee, so it's a privilege to be here, ma'am, and all of you. I think we should not underestimate the power of what has happened and happening here from the point of view of the, in the rest of the world, we're talking about the difficulties of a K-shaped recovery, that the more affluent people are doing better and, the less affluent are doing worse. I think it struck me that we should describe the situation of ladies in Bangladesh and how the contribution is as W. It's win-win, because people like you, who are the business leaders and who are the thought leaders, are doing an extraordinary job. And actually, the people whom we think at the other end of the spectrum, I always quote when I hear from many clients who have businesses in China, Vietnam, and Bangladesh, that the ladies working in the garment sector in Bangladesh, but to build startups which are starting to deliver edutech content aimed at this segment of people, because in my belief, time is running out. In this world, in this era, all that we discuss today actually has to be done like today or yesterday. I don't think we have a year. I don't think we have 2 years. So I'll stop there, Lunaji, and over to you.
Yes, we don't have time, certainly, and we need to move forward. And I think both Uzma and I are involved in USEP, where we do vocational training, and that is going to be one of the biggest challenge for us, getting people on board with vocational training. Uzma and I are involved. USEP is a very old organization doing extremely well, and we would really like to take this forward, and that's how I think we can move forward.
We work with USEP too, Appa, so I entirely agree with you.
Yeah, I know. Yes, please. Yes.
Can I come, please? This is...
Yes, please. Yes, please. Please introduce yourself, and then we.
Yes, this is Shakil Chaudhary, the Chairperson Center for Non-Resident Bangladeshis. And in fact, we are working for the betterment of the overseas workers of Bangladesh. Living outside Bangladesh is about 13 million. So I like to make a point here, as the honorable speaker, madam, is here. This overseas employment market is now open for the women, particularly in the Middle Eastern countries. We are utilizing these opportunities. nowadays, even after the COVID, the caregivers in the European countries, the Bangladeshi women can get a better opportunity there if we can give them a very small orientation, a small training here in Bangladesh, and also the searching the market outside. It is also very important, and I think is if the government has taken an initiative or the some big organizations can take an initiative to search out market for the women employment outside Bangladesh, particularly the caregivers and the home workers in the Middle Eastern countries, that can help us a lot. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Now, I would like to invite our chief guest, Dr. Shirin Sharmin Chaudhary, MP, Honorable Speaker of National Parliament of Bangladesh. Madam, we would like to hear from you your valued thoughts, guidelines, way forward on the women power, the force multiplier, and we have been discussing many issues. We had taken note. We will be presenting few proposals at your office at a later stage, but we would now welcome you to hear from you. Over to you, ma'am. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum. Thank you very much. Honorable President, Syed Irshad Ahmed, American Chamber of Commerce in Bangladesh, Mr. Shaukat Sarkar, Executive Director, and also the added directors and members of American Chamber of Commerce in Bangladesh, the distinguished women business leaders, the panelists of today's session, Dr. Rubana Haq, Managing Director, Mohammadiyya Group and President BGMEA, Uzma Chaudhary, CEO and Director, Pran RFL Group, Rubaba Dawla, Managing Director, Oracle Bangladesh, and today's moderator, Luna Shamsuddoha, American Chamber of Commerce, a member and also chairperson of Doha Tech New Media, other participants, media representatives. It is a great pleasure for me to join this session organized by American Chamber of Commerce in Bangladesh this afternoon. The topic of the discussion being Women Power, the Force Multiplier. As we all know that entrepreneurship is a vital component of economic development, it is an important determinant also of industrial growth. Women are gradually becoming important players in this sector. In Bangladesh also, we see a growing number of women entering this sector as entrepreneurs. Now, I would just like to very quickly shed light from two different aspects. One is that what are the general social, economic and other constraints that women entrepreneurs face in any case, not because of the COVID, but in the general situation also. This sector itself has its own challenges because the women entrepreneurs have to operate in a competitive and complex business and economic environment. At the same time, the major challenges that they face are generally inadequate capital, limited access to credit facilities, sales promotion, initial permission to get it's so difficult, and having to do the running around for the trade license and other trade documents to start the initial, the startup businesses, lack of knowledge, lack of accounting and managerial skills, lack of training and technical support. Gender discrimination, of course, exists, which places a disproportionate burden on women. Social constraints, access to marketing skill limitation, limited access to information and networking, technology, gender role, and finance. So these are the constraints and the challenges that already exist in the field of women entrepreneurship and when a woman wants to enter this field. However, women are turning these challenges into opportunities and they are moving ahead and creating space for themselves. So that is the positive and the most encouraging trend for all of us, because we know that how important it is for women to be economically empowered, because women constitute half of the population and their active participation in the economy is absolutely crucial. No society can afford to waste the potentials of half of its human resources. So we want to encourage our women to make their space and move ahead in their role as women entrepreneurs. It is therefore extremely critical to extend support to them at all levels, particularly the institutional supports, the loan and credit, giving them the banking access. Collateral-free loans is a very important component because women generally don't have enough funding on their own and they invest from their own savings, and this saving is also not a big amount. So they do not have collaterals, so it is important to give them the credit without collaterals. Appropriate legislative and policy framework must be put in place for them to overcome the impediments that they face. Product development training, training on e-commerce and international marketing, encouraging and involving them in export sector, encouraging diversification in their trade, and also taking measures like reserving plots for women entrepreneurs in the industrial parks, like the 100th Special Economic Zone that Honorable Prime Minister has declared. There should be some percentage of those economic zones which can be may reserve for women entrepreneurs if they wish to make investments there. So these are some of the ways that we can help the women entrepreneurs in facing the challenges during the general or normal time circumstance. But there are very critical challenges which have been posed by global pandemic. Potential and innovative solutions to build businesses and to find a recovery plan or package is therefore absolutely critical at this point of time. This is a global issue, but like any other country, Bangladesh is the similar dire challenges. There has been this topic here that we have always wanted an option to work from home. Yes, in normal circumstances, that is a different scenario. But when everybody else is also locked down, especially the children not being able to go to their regular educational institutes, then it adds an additional burden on the mother, who is the primary caregiver in the family. So that household additional responsibility and increase there poses a challenge during this pandemic situation. The limited mobility is another factor. Burden of payment of employees whom they employ during the close down period also creates additional economic impact. Repayment of loan is a constant worry because it is noticed that for retail and hospitality sectors, they are also affected by less number or decrease of customers' demand. So there is an overall decrease in demand and which affects their business in many different ways, which is of course linked with repayment of their loan installments. So these are the critical challenges which arise due to the COVID pandemic situation. Now, how can we deal with that? And I want to thank American Chambers of Commerce in Bangladesh for focusing the discussion today, particularly on women entrepreneurs and their challenges and obstacles. Because I think from the discussions that we have gone through and from the distinguished panelists, what we have heard, we will be able to find some innovative solutions or find some strategies that can help women entrepreneurs in these critical times. Reaching out is necessary and assistance to those who need it most. And we have to identify the women entrepreneurs who are the most hard hit and how we can help them. We know that our Honorable Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina has declared incentive packages and particularly catering for the small and medium entrepreneurs and enterprise. But we must also remember that for the women to avail that support or assistance can also be quite cumbersome. So how we can assist the women entrepreneurs to avail the incentives that is being provided by the government is also a sector which we need to think about. We need gender disaggregated data to have a clear understanding about what is the actual situation and the suffering of the women entrepreneurs. Online platforms can be activated because women entrepreneurs can, shift to the online platforms, and a lot of assistance will also be required in connecting them to those online platforms. So these are some of the suggestions that we can think about. And of course, I must mention that Bangladesh Bank has a refinancing scheme to support small and medium entrepreneurs through commercial banks, where they give funds at a very low rate, and these commercial banks then offer loans to the SMEs without collaterals up to Taka 5 lakh. So that is a good scheme, and if the women entrepreneurs are made aware, then they can avail that opportunity also. There are dedicated desks there, and I think dedicated desks must be made more available for women entrepreneurs to seek help and support. Now, in Bangladesh, we know that Bangladesh has made a significant stride in promoting the digital sector, and during this COVID time, this digitalization is really helping us in many different ways. There is this 333 digital helpline for emergency health support. There is another Mukto Path, another device for e-learning program for training doctors. Many other digital models are being used. So I would also like to suggest, as Rubaba Dawla pointed out, that the existing digital infrastructure must be used to the optimum level, and it must be opened up also for women entrepreneurs. It should not only be that we have internet and connection throughout the country, we have Facebooks, but how we can put these technology to use. The precise point that Rubaba made, and she made some other very important couple of points of upscaling and all that, which is of course a way forward, and we must try and engage in doing that. Because she also gave an example of Pulse, which is providing healthcare service through a digital mode. We need to think about other digital models in all the different sectors, not only in the health, but also in the trade and different sectors where women want to engage. So this is a good instrument in hand, the digitalized systems that can be put to use. But at the same time, we have to take account of what Dr. Rubana mentioned, because in order for it is not an easy task that to avail the opportunities that digital Bangladesh is offering for women particularly. So we need to train them first and take them to that level so that they are quite self-sufficient in order to be able to use those technology and build their business and operate through online. So there has to be a bridge between the two. First, we need to prepare our women entrepreneurs to be able to have access to the digital device, and not only access, but how they can put it to their use. We need to think about innovative models, and at the same time, educate them along those lines. So without the digital education, only the offering may not be enough. So we need to combine both. So I would be very happy to help or assist in any way by sharing with the Ministry of ICT to take a pilot initiative for women entrepreneurs, or for women, not or women in general, to how we can actually teach them, and then they can have access to these technology. Now, the other point is that there are already underway some of the digital training initiatives by the Honorable Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina's government. There is a project called She Power Project, through which sustainable development for women through ICT, this training is underway. There is also the other earning and learning initiative, which is also through the ICT, and many more other technological trainings are underway, but we need to give it throughout the country so that everyone can avail those at a low cost, or maybe even offer them free of cost. So there is also one rationale which is often used to say that that the rise of women entrepreneurship in Bangladesh and all the developing countries is because women face higher barriers to entry into formal labor markets. And one of the researchers, Mustafa K. Mujeri, actually places a lot of emphasis on this particular aspect also. So, to conclude, I would say that Luna talked about transformation, and we have also discussed digital transformation and the necessity for digital education to avail the digital transformation and transformation overall in this sector. So it is important to identify innovative models that will help address the critical challenges that are posed by the pandemics. And what we can do together, we must think what we can do together to effectuate this transformation. It will require a series of steps and a combination of steps. It will be a complex process, but we must design the components and direct the path. There is ample resources, so resource allocation will not be a problem so long as we can define our path and we can set the goal that we want to achieve. So I hope that from today's discussion, we will be able to bring our thoughts together and emphasize the very salient points that have transpired through this discussion, very important ones indeed for leading the way forward for the women entrepreneurs in Bangladesh. And I hope that the discussion today leads us in finding pragmatic solutions to the challenges at hand and steer the way forward together. All of us, government, public and private sector, NGO, American Chamber of Commerce in Bangladesh, and other similar chambers, and women entrepreneurs, of course. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to share some thoughts with you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, enlightening us with your valued thoughts on the whole process and the plan going forward. You have clearly discussed about the challenges and the training needs for the whole country. So at the same time, I would once again would like to thank all of you for your valued time and look forward to meeting in any of our sessions. Thank you once again. Take care, everyone.